Let's start today's video with some good news. Minecraft Bedrock Edition 1.21.80 is complete and will be expected to release over the next couple of weeks. We now enter a brand new beta and preview cycle. This is the version 1.21.90.20. The community was speculating whether we would go into the version 1.22. That's not the case. So the next drop will still be a 1.21 version, and then the update after that should well be update 1.22. Even more good news, vibrant visuals is no longer an experimental toggle. In the latest change logs under the graphical change, they said made vibrant visuals the default graphics mode for supported devices. This is going to be releasing a lot sooner than we expected. Let's get into this week's experimental features, starting with the user interface. The jump and dash bars no longer take precedence over the locator bar while inactive in creative mode. Interaction button in creative mode moved up for touch devices such that it no longer covers the locator bar. Player dots on the locator bar now show correctly while using split screen, but also the item name tooltip is no longer cut off while the locator bar is enabled in creative. Player dots on the locator bar now show correctly in third-person view while using spectator. So in case you guys don't know and have no idea what I'm talking about, as you can see above my hotbar, we have this new thing called the locator bar. Now here is a really cool screenshot that Phoenix SC shared on social media of the power of this with data packs and mods. Obviously the ability to locate specific structures, but also the power to locate things like strongholds alongside players. Now this can be turned off, and I think it's / game rule, maybe locator bar. You can have this as false and it will turn it off, and you can have this as true. So for those of you that don't like this, don't panic. It has been added to make life a lot easier for finding your friends. But obviously, if a player wants to be sneaky, they can still go ahead and crouch, and you'll notice that their dot disappears. So you can still troll your friends from time to time. Moving on to features and bug fixes. The Leashing update is now here for Minecraft Bedrock Edition, introduced to Minecraft Java last week. They said, we are expanding the functionality of leads to make it possible to leash any leashable entity to another leashable entity, and by doing so, create chains of leashed entities. But first, let's start with the Elytra change. Using a firework rocket to boost while flying with an Elytra now causes leashed mobs to unleash. So it's a slight nerf, but it definitely makes sense. So if you had your wings on, aka Jack Black at this moment of time, you had a mob like a pig or anything else, and you were to try and fly, it's instantly going to detach. So this is a nerf that has been introduced, but again, it makes perfect sense. Next, we have the information regarding leash knots. It's all inside of here. They said entities can now be leashed to a pre-existing leash knot by interacting with it. Players can retrieve entities tied to a leash knot by interacting with it, but also shears can now be used to remove a leash knot. So one of the most frustrating things as a Minecraft player is if you had this attached here, but you wanted to attach another mob like a pig, you would have to obviously remove it and then reattach. So if I was to get myself a pig here and bring it over, I can then tap on a pre-existing leash knot and they're both going to be attached. I can then tap on the leash knot as a player, and again, they still need to fix this bug on Minecraft Bedrock where the leashes go to your forehead. It's really frustrating. Has been an issue for 5 years. But anyway, you can take this off, you can put it back on, you can take this off, you can put it back on. We can grab another mob and put it on and take them all off, as you guys can see. So they've definitely made things much easier. And if you wanted to just take off one specific one, tap on the likes of a pig with a shear obviously make sure it's leashed, and it's gonna be free. And this is a really cool way to do things. Next, we have leashing entities to other entities. Now, I put it all inside of this book, but it can be found on the changelog. Any leashable entity can now be leashed to any other leashable entity. So pig to cow, cow to horse, etc. To leash an entity to another entity, the player must have the entity already leashed to themselves, sneak and interact with the target entity while holding the leash. Leashed entities can now be stolen by leashing them again, transferring the ownership to the player. This can be done with a wandering trader, for example. So does this mean less of them are going to be killed? Who knows? Also, if releashing an entity would result in immediate leash snapping due to distance, the releashing cannot be done. To prevent erratic behavior when leashed to each other, llamas that are leashed no longer attempt to form caravans. Now, don't panic about this. There's a lot of question in regards to a specific achievement. It can still be obtained. A leashed entity cannot be leashed to itself. Baby mobs can only be leashed one way, to another entity. They cannot have other mobs leashed to them, but also there is a known issue. When two mobs are connected, it results in the lead being rendered with a erroneous y-axis offset and appearing below one of the mobs. So let's start with the basic leashing a mob to a mob. Obviously, leash your first mob, then go ahead and crouch and tap on the next one, and they should be leashed together. There is a slight visual bug here where it kind of goes underground. You could then go ahead, leash this, and leash it to them. Now, that would then mean, I believe, you would then only need carrots to bring the likes of your cows along as well. So if you only had wheat and you wanted the cow to take charge, oh no, it looks like the pig's still taking charge. He's at the front here. So if we was to then grab this one and attach it, come on, to this one, does he take the lead then? Oh, we need to deattach that one. Hold on. We need to attach him there. Let's see if he can drag them along. Yes, so he's now the leader, and they're all gonna follow. This is a really cool change. And once again, if you want to take this off, you just use shears. Another change that was also introduced to both Bedrock and Java is, you all know that when mobs are leashed, they kind of try and fight you, and you end up snapping the lead, etc. So if we go to game mode C here, I'm hoping they've done the exact same thing as they did with Java. If you fly fast now, the chances of your leash snapping is massively reduced. Although it does look a little bit janky on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. But yeah, you can fly obviously over long periods without them actually breaking. So some really cool changes. So instead of having to kill wandering traders all of the time, I believe you're now able to steal the ownership from these. But you might have to first off leash one of these, and then obviously leash this one. You could then obviously leash them together. So yeah, wandering traders might not necessarily have to be killed all of the time now. You can somewhat steal the llamas from them. If I go ahead and leash this llama, the other one should follow without actually being leashed. Meanwhile, these two are leashed together and they're not going to join the caravan. I think this is just to stop them being pulled along with the wandering trader. You cannot leash a baby to a baby, but you can still leash them. You just have to leash them separately like this. I've just kidnapped it from its mother. Let's move on to the physics behind this. They said all leashable entities now behave more naturally when being pulled, which is what I already showed you. When leashed to a happy ghast, horses, camels, donkeys, mules, boats, chest boats, and sniffers now adjust their position gradually over time, aligning smoothly with their leash holder when suspended mid-air. In all other cases, entities align to the direction they are being pulled and no longer behave erratically when suspended mid-air. Again, I've already showed you this. Mid-air friction now applies to boats just like any other entity, meaning they can no longer orbit the player or behave excessively bouncily. The distance at which leashes break has been increased to 12 blocks, except for the Happy Ghast, which has a leash break distance of 16. When dragged on the leash, leashed objects will now orient themselves towards the leasher. The distance between centers of entities bounding boxes rather than their feet is used to determine the distance between two leashed entities. So let me break this down for you because there's a lot to take in. But yes, as of this version of Minecraft Bedrock Edition, you can now leash things like horses or camels or sniffers to a happy ghast and take it on a journey with you. The best way to do this is start off by attaching a lead to a camel. Head over to a happy ghast, crouch and tap. Now, like I said, it's a little bit buggy here, but it should carry it along, as you can see here. These look a little bit more detached compared to they do on Java, but it's not going too high. So on this occasion, what we will do is I'll place down a horse. We'll attach this. I'm going to ride it this time, but we're going to attach the horse. Hold on. We got to get on top of this. And you can still take this wherever you want. Like I said, when we checked this out on Minecraft Java, it's great to take this across oceans because, of course, you know, horses can't go in water without obviously sinking. They are visually a little bit bugged on Bedrock Edition here, though. It looks all kinds of tangled. Let's have a little bit of a better look here. Let's get a game mode creative and check this out. Okay, so it kind of fixed itself eventually. And the way you detach this, by the way, is, come on, please come to land. It's not going to go to land. You just use shears. There we go. It detached the harness first. This also applies for mobs in a boat as well. So if you had 2 cows and you've just been on a mega journey and want to take them home, fantastic. He's having the time of his life over there. Go ahead and leash the boat, not leashing the actual cow. Place this down and obviously attach it to them, and it's going to work. Somebody come up with a really cool idea, and that was to put breeze inside of there so they can fire projectiles. So you can put these in here, right? 2 of them. And 2 go in there. Oh, darn it, pig. This is not your home. Just wanted to go along for the ride. Darn it, I broke that. Okay, let's try and get these both in one more time. Come on. Come on. Get one more. Nope, he's gone. Okay, we'll just summon another one. Okay, and then somebody said just place this down, attach the boats. Gonna have to get ourselves another happy ghast here. Attach that to that. I don't need this attached to me. I'm having this is a disaster. Not having a good time here. Hold on. There we go. So if we was to go to / game mode S here, can they still shoot projectiles at me? Don't look that way. I'm kind of sad that like blazes and stuff can't do it. It'd be pretty cool if you could have those cool things happening. But I like the idea. Again, they seem to be more stroking the floor more than anything else on Bedrock Edition. So not perfect, but it's now a feature. It doesn't look like they're going to try and shoot me below. Oh, wait, they're doing it. There we go. Oh, it works. There you go. A little bit more information regarding the rendering. Boats and large leashable mobs that cannot fit in a boat. Horses, donkeys, mules, camels, sniffers, when leashed to a happy ghast, are rendered with 4 leashes instead of 1. In this configuration, the happy ghast also features a custom rope player wrapping around it, which again was a little bit buggy on Bedrock Edition. Shears can now be used on leashed entities to unleash them. We've already showed you this, removing both the incoming and outgoing leashed connections. Players cannot cut other players' leashes. So although you can cut it from things like the Wandering Trader, it's not possible to do from your friends. So unfortunately, you can't steal their happy ghast or their mobs. Dispensers can now be used to unleash entities. So let's go ahead. I think I've got them inside of here. We activate this. It's going to obviously cut the leash off, and the pig is now free. Let's get into the graphical changes. Let's read the changelog with this. So as I outlined, they made vibrant visuals the default graphics mode. No longer needs a toggle. They've done a whole bunch of changes right here. It says, added the ability to data drive some of the vibrant visuals / deferred graphics related settings per biome. I have a little bit of gameplay here from Poggy. So for example, if you wanted to go into let's say a pale oak, for example, but you wanted it to look obviously different because it's like a desolate and a very moody place to go to, you can now change that. If you wanted to go to a deep dark and make it even darker, you could do that. If you wanted to go to like a desert, and obviously you've got the sun beaming down on the sand, which is going to be very bright, you can do that. This is a really good change to be introduced. Besides that, we have a bunch more changes down here, which are going to be quality of life, increase the backscattering of light underwater and vibrant visuals. Cloud shadows no longer pop in and out and view when looking around using vibrant visuals on Android. So alongside the bug fixes, we did get a bunch of changes regarding a ton of different items here. Let's check them out. Although this is going to be built into Minecraft Bedrock Edition, it's also going to be customizable for pack creators. Now, if we do /time set and we do midnight here, I kind of wanted to see if these would pop, because eventually in the future they could make it where the likes of gold, the likes of the shards, the likes of redstone could pop on armor. Apparently in this version, they've made all of these items a lot better in response to vibrant visuals, including berries. So we'll have to try and find ourselves a lush cave and see what that looks like. Apparently this was also improved as well. Pumpkins, the bush, the firefly bush, and apparently mobs. A few mobs have also been slightly changed as well. I'm not fully sure what the issues were with these. I think they might have been rendering issues, but apparently in this version, it's now been fixed. They have definitely made the Lush Cave experience so much better. I don't think they fully fixed the caving experience, and there is still a few issues here and there, but things definitely look so much better. This is what your water looks like during the daytime. You can see very subtle reflections. If we do /time sets and noon, you can see they're obviously a lot more aggressive because the sun is at the hottest and highest points. I really love the water experience in this. Not everybody likes this. Especially in a dark biome, it definitely needs to be slightly altered. But again, you can customize your settings to however you like to play. For me, /time set day is the best way to experience vibrant visuals. But yeah, after many, many years, the wait is finally over. Moving on to changes with blocks. Dried ghast blocks rarity is now common, matching its ingredients. So if we had a dried ghast, for example, its rarity is not slightly changed in color versus the likes of a dragon egg or the likes of a trident, these obviously being slightly rare. We also have crimson and warped roots cannot be lit on fire or burn anymore. We have a bug report. So this was reported 5 years ago by the looks of things, but apparently they could be set on fire and they would burn and disappear. That won't happen anymore. Non-waterlogged dried ghast blocks now only play ambient sounds when on top of soul sand or a soul soil block. So if we have 3 happy ghasts, place one here, you might see particles, but it's not going to make noise like it would if it was placed on one of these blocks. Fixed an issue where jungle leaves did not become transparent when setting all leaf types to be transparent. Commands. Fixed a bug where players could hear sounds played with the /play sounds even if they were in a different dimension than the one the sound was being played in. Gameplay. Fixed a crash that would sometimes occur when using command blocks. Graphics. Item bobbing will no longer stagger when the amount of days is high. Entering pause while breaking a block will reset the breaking animation. We have a bug report. So this one was pretty funny. If you were to break a block, then pause the game, it would automatically begin to break for you. Now it will completely pause. So if we were to begin to break this, then pause the game, as you can see, it's paused. And obviously when we go back, it's completely gone. So we'll try this one more time. As you can see there, it doesn't continue to break. Items. The trident is now grouped with the other tools/weapons in the creative inventory. Mobs. Let's read the changelog with this. A lot of these are going to be quality of life changes, like the happy ghast now turns more smoothly. Players mounted on the happy ghast no longer appear invisible to other players when the happy ghast is immobile. We also have a ton more fixes and changes within here with the happy ghast. honestly, maybe we are getting much closer to release than I actually expected. I wonder if Minecraft actually have more features planned for the next summer drop. While we're here, we'll also go over the user interface changes. Again, a lot of these are going to be quality of life changes, other than one that I would like to talk about in great detail. This one, the text background opacity accessibility setting now also affects hotbar, tooltips, chat message, backgrounds, and the leaderboard displays. So this has been an issue for 5 years. 5 years it's been on and off and fixed and resolved. And what we are talking about here is if we grab a sword, you can see behind the netherite sword, we have like a black box. If we were to do / game mode C and then game mode S, it has a black box behind it. If you now go into your settings, go to accessibility, you can now turn this off if you wanted to. So if we was to run the exact same thing, you can see in chat now, it's got no backgrounds and it's completely gone here as well. I personally like to have this on. It's all down to player preference though. You could whack this all the way up. And then as you can see, it's a little bit extreme in my opinion, but some people might like that. They might be hard on seeing visually. So yeah, finally, again, I don't hold your breath on this one because it has been fixed and brought back and fixed and brought back. And yeah, I like to have mine slightly on, but that's a really good change. It's finally working again. Moving into vanilla parity, harness goggles will now always be down as long as the harnessed Happy Ghast has at least one mounted player. And technical updates, let's read that change log. Once again, a lot of big changes for the technical side. So if you're an add-on creator or map maker, you might like this. API changes, block changes, commands, components, and so much more. If you're interested in the technical side, I'll leave a link down below so you can check out the latest changes. Hopefully today's video has kept you informed. One more thing I would like to say here, especially with the likes of a Happy Ghast, if you were to grab yourself a boat and you had a ton of mobs attached, so if we was to grab this and we put you inside of there, and we was to grab this, come on, put him inside of there, you can actually have more than one attached to a Happy Ghast here. So if I was to go ahead and grab this, bring him over to me, crouch and attach, is it this one? Okay, that's attached to to him. I want to grab some shears, but you can have a long list of boats if you wanted to. Hold on, we need to grab some snowballs. Bring them back over. Come on, little guy. Come on. So I want to try and get this to work. If I was to attach this boat to this boat and then crouch and attach it to this, I mean, it's a whole tangled mess, but you can attach them all. But you can attach a boat to a boat to a boat to a boat. Like, so if we was to take tons, I don't know how many you can attach, by the way, but you can attach a whole bunch. Again, a little bit buggy on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Probably will get fixed in the future versions. But anyway, have a wonderful day. And these are obviously the latest changes in the latest beta.